Any other questions, lads? Oh, Dylan wants to go. Dylan, I know that you've been a part of Excelsius now for a minute. Go right ahead, champ.
Yo, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Sorry, I'm driving. You know me. I'm always on the move. But
You know the business.
so so for the guys asking about the smaller time frame stuff, like I'm 30 hours straight into Excelsius now. Go to GU. I'll just show them something.
30 hours into it. I can't get over it. You loving it?
I haven't slept in a day and a half. You tell me.
Tell me, what do you want me to do? 30 minute?
Well, did I fucking lose here?
All right, tell me. 30
No,
minutes.
no. Okay, so I'm usually a swing trader, right? Like I've told you before, I'll hedge and scale in my swing position. Okay, so GU, if you go to like the 4 hour with your rejection zones on and just your market structure, get the candles. You don't need any of the buys or nothing. Just do those three settings. Okay,
Okay, 5.
and then yeah, I only trade like 8 pairs now, right? A lot of like dollar based pairs, correlations, and then I dabble in the crypto obviously, but I don't really day trade it. And then higher vols like indices, like US 30, I'm big on, and same with gold. But anyways, so this right here, if you go on the higher time frames, you'll see that you've had this major downward trend for weeks now, right? Like GU's been going down for a while. Same as EU because of the dollar and everything that's going on. Anyways, I'm in the buy from where's MC4 here? 32,250 is my buy, but it's interesting because on the 4 hour time frame, you know, you're hitting that rejection zone, and I entered that trade like before I even had
Oh,
like
that's right. Oh, that's. Did you enter it because of this?
yeah. Well, if you remember, I trade your way plus other ways, right? So you got a 4 hour
Right.
double bottom and needing a correction. Okay,
Yep.
so just take that. But the craziest part is I enter the position. Now go to the five. Go to the 5 minute.
Okay.
Watch the candle change near my entry.
32.50. 32.25. Oh,
Look at that.
get out. Right there.
Yeah. Okay. So now that's that. I'm still in that. And go to the 1 minute and the 5 minute time frame. I'm gonna sell from 32,589.
No, you're not.
Yeah. I'll send you a screenshot.
32.
Dude, check the 32,589. Check the rejection zones.
Wow.
It was an aggressive entry, but I'm already in the buy, so I don't care, right? I'm hedging.
Wow.
Who cares?
And you're already protected too. You're on the money, on the money. There. Oh,
And
right.
now,
Oh, it's right at the structure break.
yeah, man. See what I mean? The candle
Wow.
changed, and I'm like, fuck it, let's go. It's a hedged position now because overall I'm looking long term buys, right? So who cares? And at the end of the day, now even if this thing continues to tank, what does it fucking matter? I'm in both ways.
Wow.
So everybody's wondering about the lower time frames. Like I've been talking to Albert the last day or whatever about this. It's not about Excelsius. It's not about the buys. It's not about you have to know what you're doing, right? Like I just gave you my a trading plan for GU. Like I could
Right.
give you more if you want. Go enter it. Go make some money. But you got to understand like what's going on. So like a big piece of the Excelsius is it's literally giving you all the tools you need on the smaller time frames. And if you're a long term trader, use it to your advantage. You can scalp and trade every leg with ease. Before, we had to sit there and be like, okay, well, let's dissect this entire situation and what am I going to do? Well, these rejection zones, just from what I've back tested here in the last day and a bit, they're money. Like you're like I don't know. You can literally take everything off and just throw those on there, and then run through 4 or 5 different time frames. You'll get entries. Like I'm in a risk free position both ways, and
Dylan, the energy is radiating. It's like you have just
I didn't lift a
transformed.
finger. I didn't lift a finger.
Bro, you're
So
getting me
so
so
yeah, I think
excited to go
you
and
know what I'm
compete
talking about.
out
How's it
there.
working? Oh yeah, I'm up 8.5% in 30 hours.
Oh my gosh. And then,
So
and then once again, Excelsius, tells you as new structure develops, you manage your stop accordingly, and you play, as Dylan would say, ping pong with the whole thing.
yeah, like there's no reason why you can have your bias and have a big position, but everybody in here knows market structure. Well, if you don't have relief, if you don't have a pullback, you're not going to continue your move. So why don't you trade the whole thing?
Wow.
You need one to make more money on the others. You might as well trade both. Even
Right.
if and even on a small account, like I didn't understand this either. And for those of you who don't know me as well, like I've never traded a demo because you can't. There's no skin in the game. It's easy, but um, like with these smaller time frame trades, like if you're on a 100K FTMO, if you're on a 200K FTMO, if you're on a $10,000 personal account, you can't tell me that making $50 six times on your bullish swing trade, and those are just your short positions. Like, do you realize how many more trades you can now lose?
Mm.
They're paid for.
Mm-hmm. You mean you know how many trades you can win?
No, like for these short term moves, Albert. If I let's
Oh,
say I
you
move
mean
my
if you were, I got you.
yeah, you know what I mean. Like if I
Yeah.
can bang off 1 second, getting a coffee here.
No, you good.
Large
I
double double. That's everything. Thank you. And so yeah, like if you can get, like I said, I'm going long on my GU trade, but if I can get at 0.5% risk, an extra 1 or 2% out of the shorts I take on the way up, like look all that over the course of a quarter, you're up hundreds of more percent than if you just sit there and hold your swing.
let me
You know how many
ask you
times
this. Let me ask you. Go ahead, and then go ahead, and I'll ask you.
you know how many times I've been in a swing trade. I watched this massive impulse happen, and then I literally watched my profits cut in half until a lower, higher lows made. Why don't you trade it?
Huh. So let me ask, because this is something that I was touching on throughout the live tonight. Do you feel like it's making you just so much more mindful and aware of what's going on in market in and of itself?
100%.
Love it. That
Like,
is that is the biggest thing, you know.
and that's the thing too, Albert. Is like I may take my entries a little differently than most. I may do like not like you said, not everybody's the same.
Right.
But in regards to holding your trade, managing a position, knowing what if this happens, I'm doing that. If that happens, I'm doing this. It's all the same, right? You're
Right.
gonna need you're gonna need highs and lows to in your direction to make money, or you're gonna need highs and lows against you to shut it down and flip your bias, right? So
Right.
a
No,
lot of
and
people
and
a
and
lot of
that's
people
why it
ask
was
me about.
designed in the way that it was, right? Because I we didn't want that. We launched Excelsius, and it's like, well, I don't compete exactly in that way. You need to be able to customize to the way that you compete.
Yeah, exactly. So I
Amazing.
just thought it was crazy that I go down, I check the five, and my exact entries are the exact candle. It
And,
changes.
and and you really look at, for example, like you look at how it hugged, like it hugs, it hugged. It's so. Listen, I'm a fangirl for this. When it comes down to like Excelsius, it's wild. I agree that when you really look and Legends, if you can kind of tell, Dylan's energy is beyond radiating because he's now, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it creates a whole new concept in your head in context to the ability and capabilities that you can do. I mean, look at the way you're moving. I'm not saying you weren't moving like that before, but it seems like you can even move even more effortless than you were before. You know what
It's
I
not that
mean?
well, and like for example, me, like I'm a pretty busy guy. I work all the
Right.
time, but so this is awesome. My phone's going off all the time, but it's all relevant
How are the
information, right?
alerts? How are the alerts going on for you?
They're really good.
Good.
Well, everything, right? Like
Right.
for example, I'm in a position with zero risk either way. So whatever's made, maybe I take profit on the sell, carry on with the buy, or we'll see what kind of alerts I get over the night, right? But either way, Excelsius put me in a position in what, a matter of 90 minutes or so of risk-free trading. You tell me. Well,
Straight.
you know what I mean, though. But like you and I talked before, the biggest thing is going to be per trader. Like it's a lot easier for me. I don't watch the whole market anymore after doing this for a few years because
Mm-hmm.
some of the pairs I don't like AN we were
Right.
talking about. I don't give
Right.
like a pair that's moving 20 pips in a week. Like, phew, can't make any money doing that. I'm not even
No,
looking
no,
at it, right?
and you are 100% on the money, and this goes back down into it is all, and you said it earlier, you dictate, you know, the intensity of Excelsius. You know, if you want to go full blown, like you are, Dylan, you are competing like no tomorrow right now. You know what I mean? Like you're
Oh yeah.
getting me so excited to go and compete, you know? Um,
You just got to figure out how it moves for you,
right. That's the
right?
biggest
Like,
thing.
because like I said, I'm usually a longer term trader, but the last few months I've been like, well, this is stupid. Like I'm waiting for this pullback. On the higher time frames, I know it's still moving up. Like I started trading them. Well, you know how easy it is with Excelsius. You can't fuck it up. You can't. If you do, it's if you can't manage a trade now compared to what we used to do, right? With 9,000 levels and hours and hours of chart work if you can't manage your position now, I just don't know what to tell you. I'm just being blunt. Like I'm pretty outspoken about it, but
Uh-huh.
you
No,
know,
you're
and
absolutely right.
just like these rejection zones. Like everybody's like, a lot of people too, traders I've talked to, I'm like, yeah, I'm doing this. They're like, why? They're like, that's like 10 pips. I said, yeah, 10 pips times how many small term 5-minute pullbacks on a 100 pip swing trade are you going to get? Probably 10. That's an extra 100 pips.
Mm-hmm.
Like for all of us, like I'm funded now and a lot more capital than I used to work with, but you got to compete this way and you have to be hungry for the small moves as much as the big ones, or you're never going to grow your account.
Never. And more importantly, you're never going to get better as a trader. I mean, Dylan, the way
No.
that you speak, do you remember the first time you came on a full volume and, the live training and you were speaking just about your, whole experience and look at you are now. What is it, a year and a half, 2 years later? I don't know how long it is, but night and day. One, like a,
Oh yeah. That's what I
wow.
was talking. That's what I was saying too. For the new guys coming in the education side, like that is, and I don't know if you've mentioned this or not. I was at work and I was listening to the previous 50 minutes or hour we've been on here, but um, like the education is still going to be just as important for all the students because you have to
100%.
understand what Excelsius is doing. Like it
Right.
can spit all the spies cells, higher highs, higher lows, lower highs, whatever it wants. If you don't know that it's telling you there's a structure developing inside a bigger structure, or if you get stuck on the smaller time frames, or you get lost in the 1 hour, the 4 hour, you still have to be mindful of what you're doing and where you're going. You still got to have that awareness. You know what I mean?
It's meant to be the added confluence that you need to your already
Yeah.
analysis, already your level of competition, right? Think,
Like I just showed you guys how easy it is. Like that's a phone screen worth of candles, and you know we're up some
and,
some
and,
money
and
here.
you competed like no tomorrow.
Well, you can. Yeah, I don't
Do
have to sit there. Like half the work is done for you. You just have to take the data and make a decision.
do you mind if I post this tomorrow for others to hear?
Post whatever you want. I don't care.
Oh, it's no, because it's just it even truthfully it made me just open my eyes more in context to different game plans that you can put together. And this goes back down into the video. I'm sure you watched it earlier. It's like by the end of this, there are gonna be so many different ways that you can utilize Excelsius. It's gonna be endless. It's just as you said, you have to figure it out for what works for you. I mean, look at that. I mean, Dylan straight away, boom, and like it's crazy just the way that he's maneuvering through everything. But the most important thing that everyone needs to take away from what Dylan is saying here is that he's being so mindful of what's going on in the bigger picture, right? In the end of the day, even though he's moving in this way, he's so adamant about what's going on. And of course, you can always just go down and look at Excelsius, and Excelsius is going to tell you verbatim what is happening in the bigger picture. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like my long term target on GU is I don't know, 1.36, 1.35. We'll see as we come up there. But
Mm-hmm.
again, a lot of that doesn't so much come from the way we trade. It comes from I only trade 5 or 6 pairs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So so yeah,
No,
but if you look,
absolutely. And even you look at it from like let's say the daily
but
standpoint, you say to yourself, "Wow, you know what?" And it makes sense once again because it's like, all right, well, you look at it and take away just even the structure. We're
oh
bearish right
yeah,
now. You can expect some type of short-term pullbacks if you get there, right? And as
and
you're saying, they're
and it
good.
exactly, and it's a pound pair, so you're gonna get your pullback is more than most pairs
Most
move in a
pay,
week.
right, exactly. It's going to be 50, 60, 70, 100 plus pips. So you will
Yeah,
get that. And then now, to your point, it's like, oh, hey, price is slowing down. I bet you if I threw an institutional volume profile and especially drop to the weekly here, look where we're sitting. Look at the two
100%.
fat candles that we're about to push into. You know what I mean?
But
Even this is like order central over here, but especially these two. You know what I mean?
and the way I'm set up now is I don't really care if even if it pushes down lower into the bottom of where the orders are sitting. I'm in the sell
Mm.
all the way down there, right?
Exactly, and you're still going to be competing into these cells and then seeing how price reacts into here, and this is exactly the intent.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So yeah, like I've I've used it quite a bit already, and a lot of people were saying too, oh, the buys were saying this or the sell signal came at this. Like my opinion, everybody can do whatever they want. My opinion is use it for the structure and use it for the volume and use it the buys and the sells. Like if you take them blindly, that's fine. But I think you can do way more. But with the zones and the market structure candles, like you can get some pretty gnarly stop losses for some big R and R's, right? Like and the reason is because all the hard work's done. Like you see it, just be aggressive, and it'll tell you, it'll help you. I promise.
Dylan, you preaching
Yo,
the good word, my man. Can't I can't express enough just how grateful I am just for the overall support and the feedback because like I said, and you continuing to be as just passionate and just as intense as you are in this, it's going to help also make it that much better because whatever, you say, hey, we could see improvements on here or there, it's going to happen. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. The biggest thing is you gotta do what you gotta kind of be in control of it too. Like it's like
Mm.
anything. It's like anything. Think about the entire world.
Right.
Robots and everything are taking our jobs, but you still gotta be in control of it. It's no different than an algorithm. You know
It,
who made it. You know how he trades. You know why he trades. You know why this, and that's gonna be in there. But you gotta use it for how you need to execute.
couldn't have said it better myself. You need to
So
control Excelsius. Don't let Excelsius control you.
so yeah, like I just thought it was funny that I entered that trade and then I checked the 5 minute chart
And it's
and I'm
just
not.
right
Yeah, and
verbatim
then
there.
so then when I got up to the top there, I was like, well, let's check the smaller time frames and see what's going on. So
You
it's like,
love the
fuck it.
dynamicness, huh? How just and what's nice is someone like you who just sits on um, a couple of pairs. Once you preload it, you don't need to go fluctuating back and forth. It's there for you.
No,
You know what I mean?
no.
It's there for
But
you just to keep going through, which is really great as well.
like with the alerts too, because they're sending them to you on every time frame. Like I just think it's very beneficial to don't get stuck on, like, if you really like the 1 hour, you really like running plays in the four, don't limit yourself to that because Excelsius gives you the tools you need to be comfortable in the smaller time frames, right?
Right, 1,000%.
Because a lot
You
of
know,
people too, like, why are they long-term traders? Why, well, we all know the smaller time frames are intimidating. Like you come into the London New York crossover, you got 30 pip 5 minute candles. Like, don't tell me that's not intimidating when they're coming against you. But Excelsius gives you the opportunity to understand more of the where you're at in the smaller time frames, so you don't get lost. Like I used to get lost on the smaller structures that were part of the bigger structures, whereas Excelsius is, it's a lot easier to read those and understand what's going on, and then add to your swing position or hedge or whatever you want to do, right?
1,000%, 1,000%. I mean, it genuinely adapts to you and the market environment. The market gets more aggressive, Excelsius is going to pick up on that. If the market slows down, Excelsius is going to pick up on that, right? But at the same time, you also want to pick up on that as well, right? Like the first thing Dylan said was obviously GU is dropping because of the dollar pairs and X, Y, and Z without even getting into the basis. And so when he goes and he sees Excelsius is printing sell signals, it's like, well, yeah, that should happen, right? I should not be seeing any buy signals. Um,
Exactly.
and that in and of itself gives you that level of assurity of like, okay, higher time frames in line with how I see. Now I can really maneuver in the smaller time frames, but being mindful once again of what's going on in that higher time frame structure.
Yeah, like I think that's the biggest thing I've found is a lot of us who are longer term traders, you can get comfortable or you can have a little bit more confidence in the smaller structures, And like I told you, 15, 20 pips, you bang that out 10 times in a day, you got a good day.
Right. No,
Meanwhile, meanwhile, you got your swing still running, so who cares? Stops or break even, go to bed.
and you couldn't have even said it better because you're so right, which is, and this goes back down into truthfully, it's a big mission statement of Excelsius, which is we are at an unfair advantage. And to Dylan's point, in today's day and age, I mean, how many of you can genuinely trade on the smaller time frames, knowing how manipulated it is by the institutions? You get in and then you just see a random wick or something like that happens, right? And then what it does, to Dylan's point, it causes you now to develop, these blinders, and more importantly, you start to say to yourself, "Nope, I'm not going to do it because of X, Y, or Z reasons." But in reality, you're not doing it because you just don't have the confidence to do it, right?
Well, it's true. Like, look at the institutions. Look how many
Right.
times they take 10 ticks, make a
I mean,
mill.
I mean, it's amazing what happened in the crypto market a week and a half ago. I mean, like just 25% like that, gone
Yeah, it is what
in
it
a
is.
single day, in a single day.
Oh, I saw it. I just buy the dip.
There you go. You know what I mean? Discounts, and like, but it just goes back down into, this really is the suit and armor that you need if you want to compete at the highest degree.
And like for example, like I still have a job or whatever. A lot of people still have jobs. We're building capital, we're gaining capital. You got to figure out when you're comfortable and when enough is to go full time. But in regards to full time trading, I tried it. I'll tell you guys straight away. I tried it. I got bored. I
Hmm.
got bored because I wasn't
A lot of free
just
time, right?
a lot of free time, and you can only manage your positions every 4 hour if you got a 4 hour swing going on, right? So
Hmm.
like with this, it gives people who are full time another option, right? Because I'll be the first to tell you, I hated the smaller time frames. I was only 2 years in, I started dabbling a little bit. This gives you the confidence and the help you need to compete down there. Because all it is on the 4 hour is a wick. No reason you can't trade it though.
Right. It's about knowing how to trade it, which is the most
Exactly.
important.
And I'm not saying the example I gave you is going to work out every time either, but it gives you enough confluences to think, okay, let's throw $100 on it. Let's see what we can
And
do.
and more importantly, that now gives you a game plan. It gives you one weapon of the many weapons that will be in your arsenal, right? Like Dylan said, that's just one play that I just gave you of many that I could create, right? All based on what's being provided to me.
Like for example, if any of you are interested, I've been back testing this with gold.
Okay.
Gold's got some gnarly wicks at New York Open. You can trade the whole thing. You trade the whole thing.
Yeah, gold's wild.
You know, like yeah, it consolidates for a long time, but it's consolidating in a range that you can totally trade on the smaller time frames and make good money at.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
But again,
the levels respect so well. I mean, look at this, like to the T, and you
oh
just
yeah,
look at how well that holds.
yeah, and then look where you're at. Rejection zone, break below that area
And,
right
and
there.
and
Take a
this is
sell.
exact, yep. And it's like, okay, you wick, right? And then maybe if you can try to find something in here, right? There happened to not be anything, or maybe you get some 1 minute structure in here and you run it down if you're going to be super super short term about it. But right, you can make
But
some
even
action.
then, Albert, measure how many pips that is,
Mm-hmm. Right.
right?
No, you're right. And that in and of itself, a 6, 7 point movement for gold, especially in a session push, it's great. You know what I mean? So once again, and let's just take that example right there, which is going to be right around here. I'm sure there's some type of higher low that's going to be in there. There is. Once we start to break down, you can start
Yeah,
to
look at
go
that. That's a perfect little trade while you sip a coffee.
right in the morning. Good morning. Into where? The first zone.
Yeah, and that's and then yeah, let's like that one obviously didn't push into the zone as deep as somebody like myself would like, but again, it's the fact that it's there. You
But
decide.
it's also, and this is what I bring up though, also be mindful, while we might be at the zone on the one, it doesn't mean that we're
Yeah,
necessarily on the zone on the higher time frames, right? And like you go into it, maybe when we were pushing wherever it was in here, we're nowhere near entering something where it's like you see something like this, right?
but and that goes back to my GU example though. You got to plan for every time frame because
Right.
you got to sift through them all. You got to use every time frame.
Exactly. You can't, and that's why too. When Theo was asking earlier about The cell signal, I'd be like, you can take it verbatim, but at the same time, you want to be mindful of what is going on in the higher time frame. Like, don't tell me that you're going to take the cell and then put your stop above just the last candle. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
it's just
See,
not going to work
that's what
out for you.
that's what I found too is the buy and the sell signals on like the 4 hour and the daily. Way I prefer them a lot more than on the smaller time frames. But
Right.
for somebody like myself, because we did it the old way, the hard way, the grinding way for so long, now
And
it
now
just
it
helps
allows for
you.
you, it opens the door.
Yeah, like I don't even chart up anymore. Don't need to.
It genuinely does now. For someone like you who's just been so, truthfully, like one road, discipline like no tomorrow, it kind of now allows for you to take all the tools that you've acquired and just go to work on it. I can't stress enough one of the biggest things that all of you and the ones listening to this recording tomorrow and just all the legends out there, you need to take away the confidence that is radiating out of Dylan's voice. And not just the confidence of, oh my God, I'm up bajillion percent. It's, oh my goodness, look at what I'm going to be able to do with my already. It's not like Dylan bought Excelsius yesterday and he acquired all this information. He already knew how to compete before Excelsius. Excelsius is just allowing for him to now take his level of competition even that much higher.
100%. But you
You know?
have to. A lot of people don't understand. You have to. You have to.
Because otherwise you're limiting yourself.
Like I said, I tried going full time. The swing trading was too boring for me. That's a personal thing. Like other people might love the free time. I live in Alberta, Canada, where it's cold 8 months of the year. Like what, I'm not going to the beach while I'm managing my position, right? So
Right.
you know,
You're sitting at
so
home. All right, all right.
I'm just sitting at home. Where's this? Like, guys got to get creative with it. Like, I know Albert, you and I and Satchel had done the scalping thing there a while back,
You
and like
remember
that
the
was
gold play that one time? That was the craziest day I've ever, I'll never get over that day.
remember, yeah, market
The
closed
one
for five
minute,
minutes.
or something like that. Crazy. But yeah, no, I mean,
Yeah, but now we can take those with more confluences than we have before. Just like, you know what? I hope this 1 minute lower high holds. I
and
hope.
it's and to Dylan's point as well, it's like you see this, and a lot of times traders are like, oh my goodness, right? They're like, oh, this flag's developing. We should be expecting this whole thing to go like this, and it's like, well, you can also use now the rejection zones in context this past structure, and not just expecting that you're going to get this upburst of a movement, and that's really what everything is for. That's the dynamicness aspect of it, right? You know,
Yeah.
you
Well, the
want
biggest thing I've learned too in the last couple of years trading, just in general, is a lot of those big candles, especially around news, they're just going to be wicks.
to.
Guys are like, "Oh, it's a sell, it's a sell." No, it's not. It's the
Mm-mm.
institutions telling the retail guys, "Put all your money there, and then I'm going to blow your account because you risked 25%."
No, 1,000%, a
That's what it
thousand
is.
percent. And you can
Yeah,
even
like
see
if
here, right? You get this short-term fake out, and then Dylan saying to himself, you know what? I think it's bullshit. I'm not interested in the short-term fake out. I think we're still going to continue this because maybe in Dylan's eyes, until we break down, 1766, 1770, maybe he's going to try to build some short-term plays. He starts dropping down now, maybe even to if you want to be really, really aggressive, and you can start, trying to mix and match accordingly. You start pushing into the zone here. Who's to say that you know what? And once again, being creative, as Dylan said, you see a little bit of this, you put your stops below the zone, you're trying to target back above, right? And you just
and
go.
the thing is too is a lot of people like they'll get halfway to their target and they'll be something will happen or a big wick will happen. Just be aggressive on your stops in these smaller time frame plays.
And at the same time, too, be mindful. Click add alert. Let's run replay. You click the alert all alert function. Excelsius is going to tell you when
Well,
you're
like I was
getting
telling you too, with managing positions, you see a blue candle in there? No. Why would you
right.
close?
Exact. Ooh, great point. Keeps you tough.
Well, you know what I mean? A lot of people close too
Yeah.
early. Why would you close?
Right. That's a great point. That's a great point. Excelsius keeping you in line because Excelsius is not going to change structure unless it successfully breaks down. Like I guess
Yeah,
this
so
one.
that my comment, my voice message the other day about managing positions.
Mm-hmm.
You can't screw it up. You can't fuck it up. If you did, you either risk too much and you're getting greedy, so you were fearful of what could happen, or
Mm-hmm.
you're just a little consolidation scared you. Like I told you, you don't close or update positions on consolidations. You ride it out. You have
Right.
to. All that
Because
is it's either gathering orders to that's the trade of the century for you, or it's gathering orders and it's like I'm going break even and I'm going to flip my bias. Big whoop.
And these are even really good examples too, because take a look at something like this. Like let's say you get this false move here, you get this nice higher little break. Once this corrects, you get in, stops are above, and it's like
Right? Once,
the
oh,
possibilities, bro, are endless.
oh, I know. That's like I said, I've probably played with it a little bit more than a lot of people have. That's why I decided to talk about it. But
Yeah,
you
no,
gotta
for
you gotta be creative. You still gotta use the knowledge you have. Like
no.
anything from that full volume trading course. Like I would say, if you don't if you don't have the time to do that, you don't have the time to use Excelsius to what you can do with it.
Right.
You just
No, and you're absolutely right. I mean, I think in the end of the day, this is really, really, supposed to come across as this is going to be the upgrade that, you would, only be able to get if you went to an institution or anywhere else because they just have those resources. This does give you, a second pair of eyes and ears. But at the same time, I think it does even something bigger than that, which is it forces you to be so mindful, which by being so mindful and your mind constantly being stimulated, you're growing without even realizing it?
100%,
Mm-hmm.
100%.
Amazing.
Like,
Absolutely amazing, Dylan.
and there's lots of examples too of the same thing I gave with GU or GU. Like, I've run across those countless times back testing. I've only been back testing the last month of price action on all my pairs.
And do you feel like now with Excelsius, do you feel like with time you see yourself now becoming a much more active trader? Not saying you weren't active before, but even increasing in that.
I think it just gives you, and you're the same too. You're like how important is this level of structure? You remember
Mm-hmm.
those days? Like
Right.
how important is it? Is this the
Right.
one, or is it the one above it, right? Or is it
Right.
the one below it? Now, especially with these rejection zones, if you're deep into like the third, the top of that rejection zone, that point of structure has a little bit more significance. And Excelsius is showing you that, it's telling you that. So now you have a little bit more confidence on the level. You have the same idea you had before, but you've got an added confluence, to make the decision, which is your execution, right?
No, 1,000%. And I think, the biggest thing is in the event that you are unsure, the data, the information is right here for you at your disposal.
Like go back to my GU example. I entered on the 1 and the 5 minute. Go check it out, and it's like, huh, all my candles are still showing bearish pressure. Why would I close?
Mm-hmm. No, 1,000%. You go into the one, you go into the five. This is very much going to be bearish, and you very much know in the bigger picture until we start breaking down this structure.
Yep.
I'm not interested. And now it starts to, really start to paint a picture of, all right, if I can really hold, maybe I can start to now start expecting some movements into these lows, which also the zones will start coming into, and I can start to adjust my stops. And then Dylan's gonna be saying to himself, what? Let me see if I can compete for some buys or keep looking for the sells as we continue to start breaking down some further structure here.
100%. And like a lot of people too, like learn how to hedge is a big piece of advice I can give people, because you're risk free so much more. But that comes with dabbling in the smaller time frames. Because I used to get
Mhm.
stuck in my bias, and I'm like, okay, I'm only buying here. Well, as soon as it goes against me, I'm still looking for more buys. There's
Right.
no reason, you see some candles that are like, they're heavy hitters and they're taking you out at break even. There's no reason why you can't wait for that. It's going to be a small little pullback probably, or a wick, and continue on with the overall momentum, even though it was against your idea. The biggest thing I found too is trade with, like, don't have any bias. Have a bias for that trade, a longer time frame. But if something happens, don't get stuck just only looking for buys, because that's what overall direction is. The overall direction could take 2 weeks to play out. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Don't limit yourself.
No, 1,000%. And really, what I think, as you were saying, don't limit yourself. Just know that you have the confidence to do things that maybe you've never done before, and that is really also what Excelsius is for: is to give you that push to venture out and decide that maybe you're a little bit more uncomfortable and start getting comfortable with the uncomfortable.
Well, that's the biggest thing for me is just the confidence in smaller time frames.
And more importantly, You taking your level of competition from a 10 to breaking the scale now.
Because like even on my GU trade right now, there's a lower high and a higher high in a 1 minute. You know, Excelsius starts breaking that, sends me my alert. I'm like, okay, like right now, for example, my two hedges around $300 in profit. I'll just take the profit and carry on with the buy. I don't care. It's easy.
There you go. And then more importantly, you can go ahead and plan accordingly for your next set of plays. You're moving with flow. You're in a perfect state of market's flow.
Oh
Let's
yeah,
go,
it's
Dylan. Completely in sync.
yeah. The biggest
Amazing.
thing is put in the time to figure it out.
Amazing.
But
Listen, I can't thank you enough for just taking the time out to really give your overall take on it. You were genuinely one of the first legends to pick it up. Funny enough, Dylan was able to get access somehow to the site before we launched, and got all set up and everything like that. And it was just really beyond appreciative of just everything, and more importantly, for what's to come with all that you discover. And yeah, legend, just I can't thank you enough. It beyond puts smiles on my face because it's just giving me it's so many ideas are flowing right now, because I very much know how I would utilize it, let's say from dailies all the way down to the minutes, and let's say how I would view it. But Dylan coming on here for spending 30-40 minutes of his time, boom, gave a completely new way as well of how you can utilize it live, exactly what he's doing right now, right? And that in and of itself is the beauty. There are no limitations. And to what Dylan was saying, don't limit yourself either. Don't be afraid of the smaller time frames. Don't be afraid to do things that you have never done before. It's the whole basis of Excelsius. To take you out of your comfort zone and to more importantly make you a better trader and to give you that unfair advantage that we all seek. Because I'm sick and tired of getting beat up by the institutions unnecessarily. Now with Excelsius, not happening. Maybe a little
and
bit,
e-
but not
and
much. Not even there.
even on like your like some of your heavier movers like gold and silver and oil, just the way the pip count is. I went back and back tested like when you had big US news and you had non-farm payrolls and stuff where you get these crazy wicks. And Excelsius will still handle it. You just got to know what's going on,
More important for sure.
right?
Excelsius
Like
was built and designed to just adapt to every dynamic of the market. Like you can even take a look at, for example, go to let's say BTC, right, and you go look at what recently happened. One would consider this as, a crash in something like this, but in something along this lines, right? For me, in the end of the day, I'm okay with, how Excelsius is handling because you don't see it bending or trying to change direction or anything along those lines. Still very much bullish in this way. And once again, this will come down to the settings that you hit. You happen to have a little bit more of a snappier type of TP. You stopped didn't happen and everything actually happened to close. You know what I mean? So
and then even too like with cause I know a big question too is like how the profit percentage works, right?
mhm.
That like I'm not gonna say don't worry about it, but like I've fooled around with it, played around. I had it at 25 at one point too, running weeklies,
Uh,
and like it's not, I think a lot of people are really looking for the buys and the sells, and that's totally fine. Like I'm not, if that's how you want to trade and that's what you want, then it'll do that for you. But I think the bigger thing you have to understand is it's no different than if you were scalping or doing trading more intraday or per session, like you like to trade for the first couple hours in London or New York. You know, those signals are still going to reflect the same kind of trading plan you'd go in with if you didn't have Excelsius. Nobody here is going to tell me that they're going for a 100 pip move and they're trading an intraday or a scalp, right? It's so for people who are wondering about that, it's no
right.
different. You're not gonna. It's gonna spit out a sell or a buy, and 10 pips later, it'll give you your TP signal. And everybody, a lot of people might think, well, why is this or why is that? Well, you have to understand it's the algorithm it was a perfect scalp. It was a perfect execution. That's all you're running for,
Right. And,
So
and that and that's also and that's couldn't have said it better. That is exactly why you need to understand what your goals are associated to it. Like you cannot, go down and get, a 5 minute higher low that broke and you're like, where's my 50 pips? Well, it's like, well, that's an outrageous
no,
expectation, right? But it's
you
like,
know,
oh, hey, we just broke a daily higher low, we got a daily sell signal, and we just broke a 4 hour higher low, okay, it's a little bit of a different situation there, and we're at the top part of the rejection zone, and all these orders, and you know what I mean. Then your
Yeah.
expectancy to be different once again.
Like for example, I put two charts side by side,
Mm,
and it was Euro USD because I trade that, and I also trade Pound USD, obviously. And even the buy and the sell signals too at 0.01, at 1, at 2.5, at 5 is what I had them at. Even just on the pound, because the pound pairs move so much, your buy and sell signals are they're double on GU, right? So if
mm,
that helps anybody too, trying to decide where you should set it at, I
mm-hmm.
I I was on the 1 hour time frame and it was double compared to EU. But if you look at your average pip count per week, it makes sense, right? Like GU
Right.
is almost 2.5 times. So
And
so with stuff like that, like everybody, you still need to do a little bit of research and figure out what pairs and why and what you want Excelsius to do. Like that's because it'll do whatever you want, but you need to understand the data it's giving you.
and more importantly, where you are in the market with what it's giving
Yeah,
you.
like
Could not say
for
it better
example,
myself.
that GU example I just gave off the top of my head there, so I'm in it. If you look at the 4 hour, you'd never take a sell.
Right, because you're
But
pushing right into I mean, you could. It's just aggressive. It's just very aggressive.
it
You know,
is.
and if
But
you
that's what I mean. Don't.
let's say you took it verbatim, this is not something that you should be sleeping on because who's to say you get something like this and it wicks through and then you start getting
Yes.
back on, right? Also, that's
But before
go ahead.
Excelsius, you wouldn't take that.
No, because we're at the basis of the low. And still, let's say if I wanted to go and take it, I would actually be setting a low on the lows to break, if anything.
Yeah,
Or,
100%.
no,
Break the lows,
exactly.
retest, and take it down.
Precisely. Or I would try to
Yeah.
find some type of structure in here and go, you know what I mean? So it's like, okay, yeah. I mean, in this case, I was gonna say try this, but you're basically at the lows. Just wait for the whole
Yeah.
base to break, and then
So,
just.
so, so you know too, like even with that example, like just because I gave you an example and it's playing out, that's not. I'm
And
not
it's like
taking that entry
even
on the
if you get a
1 and the
sell set up,
5.
even if you get a sell set up right here, it's like, all right, well, you can put your stops above and
Yeah.
run the trade down if you want. Completely up to you. You know what
But
I
still
mean?
be mindful of where you're pushing into and what's happened with GU as a pair
And
overall for
and
the last month.
and this is the biggest thing, and you're so right. Like your target might be here, but who's to say price stops right here, and maybe it was a difference of 20 pips, but price still pushed 40, 50 pips. Like you cannot, you know, be upset so much as you need to be more mindful of what you should have done to manage this properly. So if you did get taken out, you got taken out with your stops at a mitigated risk and not you just still holding your position after the sell happened. Like this is a good example. You get this sell signal, immediately goes through. And if this starts to happen in this way, you have to be mindful once again of what you're trying to do in the context of the area in which you're doing it.
Well, yeah, because if you look right where it probably told you TP was, you have structure.
Mm-hmm. 1,000%. You look to the
So
left, you add the
it makes
lows.
sense. It makes sense. Why wouldn't it push back higher? So what
Right.
was the sell? It was a relief for that four-leg move to the upside. Now, is that four-leg move long term? No, it's still short term until you break down more structure. But you can still take it. You just have to be mindful where you're at again.
And this is the biggest thing. And what Dylan's getting at, and truthfully, is that you don't need to feel intimidated that, oh, I don't have the analysis done because Excelsius is very much telling you those points.
100%. One hundred
Amazing.
percent. Because yeah,
Damn, bro.
it's you still gotta have you gotta look at the higher time frames, no different than our old analysis, and
Right.
really figure out where it's going or where it could go and why. Don't just take it blindly. But once you figure all that out, like your ex from an execution standpoint, your life is easy,
Right.
right?
And more importantly, it now allows for you to even move at an accelerated rate because now it's breaking down, let's say these barriers that you had because you were intimidated, let's say, by the lower time frames, or maybe you know what, you didn't have the ability to scan so many pairs because it's just that genuinely that difficult to go ahead and do so. And so it's doing so many things at once. It's amazing. More
It's
importantly, it's not just that it's amazing. What I'm just beyond, no words about is just the immediate feedback, right? Like, I'm
one
Dylan.
thing too.
I'm like Dylan. How is it? You're like, well. spent 30 hours on it so far, so you tell me how it is. Like, okay, then, like, that's what we want to hear,
And another thing too, just in back testing, and I'd encourage everybody else who's looking to back test this to do the same. Does not matter the time frame. Like I back tested on the 5, 15, 30, the 1 hour, and the 4 hour. If Excelsius spits you out near the rejection zone, a higher high, and right below it, a lower high, it's 83.5% accurate that you're gonna get a move down. And the same goes for if you go down to a rejection zone at the bottom and it spits you out a lower low, and then right above it gives you a higher low. It's the same percentage that you get your move up,
Well, that's
which I
wild.
which I thought was interesting. And I did a that was off 130 trades. So like I
Wow.
said, doesn't matter the
Just all,
time
and just
frame.
and that's just using the rejection zones.
That's using the rejection zones and just the structure. Don't even have the candles change. If it spits you out a
Wow.
higher high, so the top of the rejection zone, a higher high, a lower high,
Mhm.
slightly below it, 83% of the time it's going back down.
Are we piercing
Now,
the rejection zone?
what's that?
Are we piercing it?
You'll just be piercing
Just.
it. Yeah. Like you got and on
Let's
the
take let's
one
take
hour.
like these. So something like these.
Let me
But
come
by the
back
way,
to
you
it.
gotta also appreciate the level of competition. But anyways, something like
Yeah.
this, like if you want to be counter, like you're getting something in here, and then you're saying for the
Yeah, like
sell.
you'll see, so right there it says the higher high, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Now if it spits out a higher or a lower high right beside it,
Oh,
those
then you're gonna. Oh, because it's indicating potential type of development. I got you.
yeah, so those are, and just about every single time, like it was like 13 or
Oh, Dylan's
17% of the
saying
time
like this. You get the higher high, it prints this lower high, and then
down.
and then you get the strong buy and it goes.
Yeah. And then so yeah. So just if you guys are looking for like a little tip that I found, go check it out. Because and same with on the vice versa, with the lower low and a higher low.
Mm-hmm.
It's
So
it's like it
then,
creates. Oh yeah,
so you get the lower low. It's potentially lower high if we break the lows, but then it's
gives you
tempting
this
to just.
higher low. It's like that's entered right there.
Mm-hmm. A thousand
Yeah.
percent.
And every single time I did that too, I put my stop loss 10 or 15 pips below that lower low that it printed prior, and look what happens. Oh, I just showed you again. There it is.
No, and
Okay.
it's being mindful once again. You see sell signals like this, and you're like, oh, that's not really that much of a movement. But when you actually measure it, price is pushing nearly 39, 40 pips, right? It's up to you whether you're managing these or not.
Well, 100%. I'm managing a 9 pip trade right now. I don't care.
That's and I think it's important. Like you will get these signals too, where there's they're just straight no drawdown, but it's more around using the resources and the tools Excelsius is providing you to ultimately give you the best outcome.
Oh yeah, I'm telling you, the lower low with the higher low,
This is
and the higher
cool,
high with the
man.
lower
I
high.
like this. Is really cool. Look at that, a higher high and then a lower high, and then it happens. That's very cool.
I told you.
Damn, bro, this is fire. This is really cool. Any
Like
time frame?
any time frame. I did the 5 minute, 15, 30, 1 hour, 4 hour. Like you on GU on the 5 minute, it's right there
Look,
too.
look at
When I took
this.
myself.
Marvin's like cheat sheets. Give me the cheat codes, bro.
Well, Albert, it's like a cheat code for the third point on a small structure.
Oh my goodness. This is wild. This is wild. That's why though. Did you guys also see the public? There's now a private chat for Discord members.
I'm, if you guys want my 30 hours back test, just message me. I don't have time.
At Dylan.
Yeah, yeah, but yeah,
Um,
no. So when you guys are back testing, just be mindful of that because I've noticed it's incredibly successful.
yeah, I mean, and to
And
what
that's
you
another
guys.
one too, Albert. That has nothing to do with the buys and the sells. That's just straight up
But
rejection
this
zones and
this
market structure.
it goes back down into what I said, which is this is so much more than just buy and sell signals. Like, and that is what needs
Oh,
to be gotten across, right? Like, this in the end of the day can be verbatim that if you want, or it can be completely, full 180 of that. And, you know, this, ultimately, you legends know that when you look at something like this is straight away how we all move, in the basis that we all move with market structure. We all move as, hard trending players in the bigger picture, and this just goes right in line, right, with how we've all been, developed, and more importantly how we learn through the game. And so I think what is so inspiring, and I'm so excited to even see it in myself and everyone else around, is just seeing the immediate effect that it's having on you, in context to what it does is it opens. And take Dylan's case for example, it opens his eyes, one. Then two, it automatically now starts to think about Inception, the movie. It plants an idea. And now these ideas start festering and they start growing. And before you know it, he's now competing at a rate that he wasn't competing before, because not that it wasn't there, the confidence is just different now.
Well, it goes back to what I said earlier. Like, I've been on Zoom calls with you before, trading live, and we're like,
Right.
is this the level or is this the level?
Right, because once again, in the end of the day, you could say I'm looking for a lower high to break, but in more importantly, which lower high is really going to be that lower high that allows for that free flowing volume, and more importantly, let's say that new structure to start
And
developing again.
and like for example, too, let's say you have like 15, 30, and 1 hour high or low. It's all the same, right?
Hmm.
And with Excelsius, though, you monitor all three time frames. It'll give you the answer on what kind of trade you're looking for. On the 1 hour, maybe it's 50, 60 pip trade. On the 15, maybe it's 25 or 30. It'll tell you, it'll break a point of structure, and it'll tell you, okay, this trade's done. The 15-minute level was the one that we were rolling with, right?
Hmm.
Because it won't validate anything else in the 1 hour.
And I have nothing else to say. You are just taking it out of my mouth, and no, you're 100% on it all. I mean, it is.
Well,
You're,
I'm just trying to think of
you're
examples that
no,
we
you're using it exactly as the intended use case was meant to be. Like in the end of the day, like UJ is another really good example in context too. Like for example, the super hard trending environment right now. Even if you turned on the signals, you'll just see a tremendous amount of buys being populated, and it should. But oh, by the way, I can't stop looking at that, bro. That's such a good point. Look at this high. Here's a lower high.
bang.
And then happened. Wild into the zone here. So basically, Dylan is saying here, we got the high, got the low. If this prints a lower high, money. But you could also break it down the smaller time frame, really start going down and playing it accordingly.
Well, I was just basing it. You can literally just trade off your alerts. Use that little, like 83%. I don't know, good enough for me. Take the 1-to-ones and go home.
The respect is incredible,
It is. And that's
right?
another thing too, is like on a pair like this too, a lot of people, like, you got to understand UJ, it's still a yen pair, but it's not going to move like GJ, right?
Right.
So, like that consolidation right there. Don't take what I said earlier and start trying to run it. I wouldn't recommend it. Why? Because you're not going to get the volatility, you're not going to get the movement you need to make money. So, like, a lot of it too still comes down to the trader being mindful of things, right?
And that goes back down to, you want to have this as additional game plans to the already game plan that you had initially, right? You hear the way Dylan's
100%.
speaking. He's got his set pairs, he's got his set approaches, his set ways. This just unlocks a tremendous amount of more doors for him.
Oh yeah,
Let's
it's
go, baby. Come on. Business.
yeah, like, I don't know. It's just crazy how you can move in the small time frames while you're still holding. Even if you're not a swing trader like I am, even if you're just 1 hour plays, go to the 5 minute, go to the 1 minute even, and go check the smaller time frames with Excelsius. It's easy.
You can just see how well it respects, especially when it's pushing into these areas, right? And
Hey
then, as Dylan's
Albert,
saying, you see an area here. The moment price breaks now this previous lower high, Dylan's like, all right, I mean, stops are gonna be below. We'll target kind of the upper part, minimum 1-to-1 if we want, whatever. And then Dylan's like, all right, I can hedge this, and then I'll look for some structure to break, you
well,
know.
and then I got the lower high after the higher
You
high,
got
and
the
then I
lower
picked the
high
stick.
after the higher high in the print, and then next thing you know, it's like boom with the cheat codes. Let's go.
So,
Whoo! I'm hyped. I am
oh
hyped.
yeah, oh
Dude,
yeah,
the legends in the chat. Every single person is about to sign up because of you.
oh yeah.
Let's go. Amazing.
Hey,
Cool.
I had to grind away to figure this out.
Well, thank you so much, and please continue to keep grinding away because by you figuring this out, it's not only going to make your trading that much better, but it's also going to allow for all of us to really benefit, and vice versa. You know, as we continue to find findings, as we continue to learn more about Excelsius, we want to continue to build with this. You know, I can't stress enough. You hear just all the fire and the passion, and this is V1. This is V1 with no user input, with no, first adjustments. This is the, initial phase of it. And if you can think of what the iPhone 1 was and what the iPhone 13 is, imagine what Excelsius 1 and the further iterations of Excelsius will be.
Oh yeah, yeah. I
Oh,
highly
yeah.
recommend everybody go get it.
Thank you, Dylan. I appreciate you. I
I
appreciate
really do. And then play around with it too. Like just you can be as creative as you want. Just figure out what it's doing. Like just like that higher high, lower high, and whatever. That was just from back testing a couple hundred trades. Like I barely even scratched the surface.
Just scratch the surface. That's what I want to hear. Just scratch the surface.
Well, Albert, think about it. Just over 8%, 30 hours,
I think we could bump that up.
and that's while I'm learning. So
And
you know,
just iterating straight away and competing.
like I said, I only trade like 8 pairs,
I
and some of
know,
it.
bro. No demo for you. Just straight into it.
Demo. If you don't experience the emotions of managing a trade and the emotions of being able to lose money, I don't know how you like. Because to me, you can learn the skill set all you want. Managing your emotions is a lot harder.
No, I agree. I agree.
First time I made 100K, I dropped 40 the next day and was like, oh shit.
Mm-hmm. It
Oh
really,
yeah.
it really hits you. It makes you reflect, big time. You know.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I was drinking Starbucks lattes, and here I am back to McDonald's for a 99-cent coffee.
It's damn right, bro. Humble you. Listen, the markets will humble you real fast. You know what
Uh,
I mean?
oh yeah.
But I think all in all, this is going to be something really special for all of us. I've been in this game so long, and I can't tell you just how exciting it is that now we are at a time where we can genuinely sync ourselves with technology. We can be one with technology. We don't have to just use it. Based on what everyone else sets it for, we can now completely set based on our preferences and our desires. And so, amazing, Dylan. Really, I can't thank you enough for all your feedback and just more importantly, just for you being the legend that you are. And I'm so excited for everybody to get a hold of this and more importantly, to really see the damage that you legends are going to do. Like it's being said in the chat, and as we're seeing demonstrated here tonight, this genuinely does give you the unfair advantage. It genuinely does. But to Dylan's point, you have to make sure that you work with it. You want to be in the driver's seat at all times with Excelsius. That is the number one way to maximize Excelsius with your trading. Let's go. Amazing. We're going to be doing a
Oh yeah.
lot more of these types of calls, and more importantly, just a lot more of these general webinars with the premium channels. There's a premium chat, which of course is going to be for members only, so we can really start to discuss about all these findings and just share and continue to grow together. But at the same time, this week and what will be really exciting is the Discord channels will now be getting set up on that side. So you will now have everything also being fired away through Discord. And that in addition is going to be a massive aid. But in and of itself, Excelsius does everything and anything you need. Right now, you can set all the alerts, all the automations, and you get everything at your fingertips. Let's go.
Yeah, GU broke a higher low too, so just heads up,
Get
everybody.
out. So you
That trade.
decided, oh, I don't need to take it off. So you were just like, all right, and stay in the position. You're still in the cell, right?
I'm in the buy and the sell.
Oh, that's right, you're in both. Oh, I even set this before. Oh, this was off, I think, the 1 hour. It sent like a 1 hour cell signal. Yeah, something like
Yeah,
that.
I haven't even had my signals on just because I've been. I don't know. I think too.
Listen.
A lot of people that aren't maybe haven't been with you as long. Like I just
Mhm.
think I think you should focus on the structure. That's more important.
And look, that is precisely why you have the ability to toggle it on and off. You are not forced to do anything. You do exactly as you seek and desire. And so and that is what I absolutely love to hear. You're like, listen, I just don't really use the signals. I like using this other stuff. Rock and roll. That is the whole basis of the design, right? So
But,
yeah.
but yeah, no. If anybody too, like I've spent quite a bit of time on this already since it come out too. If you have any questions or want to know what I've found, just message me or whatever. I'll help you out because I know Albert's been busy and whatever. But that's what I found so far, guys.
Let's try to get that premium chat really growing because that will ultimately just, it's meant for all the Excelsius members. I'll start.
Fuck,
We're gonna
Albert, I just figured out how to use Telegram. Like, fuck, I don't know how to use Discord.
Discord's actually even easier than it's like it's. I thought it was intense too at first, but you'll
Look
love it.
at it.
I promise.
I'll look at it.
I promise. It's. Did you see right there? You got the early adopter title, champ. And you got first edition wallpapers. Discord's gonna be huge because you'll see a lot of cool things coming through there.
What do I got?
Did you get in?
Oh well, yeah, I'm in Discord. Member
Are you?
rewards,
Yeah. Did you go to the member rewards?
first edition wallpaper. Nice.
You like that?
Yeah,
There you go,
nice.
champ. Plug and play, baby.
Nice.
Let's go. But yeah, no, Discord's gonna be sweet. And then more importantly, it's really a place for all of us to communicate and really discuss. And so, for all the legends that are on the live today, that's gonna be a place for you guys to really go discuss, hear game plans, and of course, ask away. But yeah,
Yeah.
all in all, tonight was incredible. We not only had just a really good turnout. We got genuine, real feedback. From a legend who has dissected this inside and out in the last 30 hours, and as he said verbatim, only skimmed the surface. And that in and of itself is very chilling. I can't tell you, Dylan. Just when you were like, go to GU, 5 minute, 15 minute, look at the projections on, look at what exactly entered, and it was just like beyond pinpoint, wild,
Oh yeah.
absolutely wild. Um,
Well,
I
even
just
even
can't.
for even for new traders too, just the market candles and how they change too. Like if you're a swing trader, like the hardest part for me was holding them, right?
Mhm.
Like I don't even like the fact that that's being ignored is crazy because you know how helpful that is. Like that's something that's just like I've been on it now long enough that I'm taking it for granted already. But remember when you started how hard it was to hold a swing position?
It's very difficult. It's
Now
still
now it's just it's automatic. It's like, well, my candles are still pink or my candles are still blue, so I'll just wait till it tells me their structure and go from there.
and it's meant to simplify the process.
Because like that roller coaster for me was like a 6 month learning process, and you solved it in a day. So
Dylan
wait,
saying, get signed up, legends, because it's going to give you the same level of energy that is radiating through Dylan in just the last 2 days in and of itself. And he's just touched the surface. Give Dylan 1 week, 1 month with Excelsius. Give you legends 1 week, 1 month with Excelsius, and look at the damage that you all will be doing.
like
I might,
like
I
eight.
might be,
Hey,
I
got
might be
like
Dylan.
put it in perspective. 8%, right? 2%. I'm 2%. I'm probably another night. Or I'm a London session away with some volume probably of an FTMO being done. Y'all ever think? Yeah, anybody ever think of that? Like, take it. If any of you guys are with fibers, they're another big one too. Go take go take the high risk account. $50 a trade, done deal. You're not gonna lose five in a row. No way. $50 a trade. Do that 6 times, 7 times, 2 sessions, maybe a full day. Done. Tell them to pay you. Yeah. Think
Uh,
about it, Albert. That's what it is. That's literally what the numbers are. They don't lie.
it is
So
designed to give you that unfair advantage.
get funded enough and just go buy the prop firm, bankrupt them, tell them get out of here.
Might be getting messages from market regulators soon telling me that we're causing too much disruption in the market. Next thing you know, you see a tweet: markets have been shut down due to Excelsius.
I'll tell them see you in court. I'm making enough to drag it out. Yeah.
All in
That,
all, it's, go ahead.
so that'd be the day you make such a big change in the market that
The
the SEC or the regulators are
regulators are
mad.
coming on you.
Yeah.
You know you're doing
Gold,
something right at that point.
Goldman Sachs is pouting.
We're trying to ring the
Yeah, like bitch, please, I'm buying your office too. Get out of here.
the takeover is imminent. The takeover is imminent, and especially with what we got going on now, Pink Sand, Excelsius, the Exchange, Blue Palm. It's gonna be
Oh yeah.
extremely scary. What's about to come,
Yeah,
and this is only part.
everybody just needs like even by January, I'm excited to see what everybody else comes up with.
Right,
Like,
that's the exciting thing because now we're going to be moving into a time period where you'll probably be expecting, aggressive conditions for the next week and a half, 2 weeks, and then
and then
after
nothing.
you'll see a slowdown for about a week or 2 weeks, and then once again markets will then pick up, and that slowdown is a phenomenal time for you to go ahead, test, build strategies, build ideas, build game plans for that new year. But at the same time, use these current weeks to see what it's like in those aggressive conditions. Usually this is the last major push of the year in context to markets, environments, just because there's a lot of rate discussions and things like that. But
Well, and
that,
Theo just said too. Theo just said too in the chat. Hours of charting to now having everything preloaded. Like people don't understand. You know how much more time you have to make game plans and figure out what you want to do because you're not sitting there looking for a fucking lower high, zooming in because there's 9 wicks in the last 8 candles. Like fuck, get out of here. You know how many times I don't want to ever have to use that tool again, or I got to zoom in on candles and be like, well, is this the lower high? Ah, fuck it. I'm just gonna put a zone here. They're all lower highs. I don't care.
right.
You know what I mean? Like Theo's got a good point. You know how much extra time you have as a trader to just now execute, make decisions.
Right. No, I mean it does as it's intended to do. It's meant to simplify the process. It's meant to genuinely accelerate your trading in all areas. It's meant to make you the most efficient trader and more importantly the best trader that you can
Well,
be.
oh, get this. So a buddy I work with, he's not in forex. He trades stocks, right? So I told
Hmm.
him about this. I was like, "Yo, I got this little thing. Like what tickers are you looking at this morning?" He's so whatever. He's looking at like 5 of them. Punched them all in on my trading view. I was like, "Yo, don't buy this. Don't buy that. Buy that. Buy that. Buy that." 3 for 3 in the stock world, boys. I don't trade stocks or whatever. I just trade the forex market. But anyways, yeah, buddy of mine, big quest trade guy, big stock guy, and he's like, "Yo, should I buy these?" And sure as shit, can't remember what. It's two technology companies just tanked today, and it was like there was a sell, and he doesn't really short, he just buys. So those two were bang on with Excelsius, and then he's up on the other three, and they were one was a strong buy alert, and two were just market sentiment candles. So I was like, buy. He's 3 for 3 on the day. Well,
Celsius.
it works, right? Long time for not longer time frames. It's perfect for stocks.
No, 1,000%. I mean, no matter what market that you look at on, whether it's all the ones that we look at, or you even go ahead and you take a look at the majors in the end of the day in context to the stock market, and yeah, it is genuinely perfect for stocks because stocks are hard trending, assets for the most part, right? And so, if anything, this is a phenomenal tool for equities just because of the way that it moves in that context. 1,000%.
Yeah, the only thing you got to be careful with the stocks is if a company's too new, you don't have
Right.
enough data. Excelsius won't have enough data, right?
It's a good point. No, 1,000%. And so
So like
it
if it
goes
came
back.
out 2 weeks ago, Excelsius the everybody knows what the daily chart's going to be. It's going to be like, oh, this massive impulse, and then back down to where it's actually traded at, and start from there. But Excelsius won't have the data for that. Just a heads up, just in case you guys start looking at stock tickets, you're like, oh, it's not working. It's just because there's not enough data. Like the asset's got to be out for like, I'd say about a month before you have an actual representation of what's going on.
Because Excelsius needs data in order to develop, you
Well,
know,
exactly. It can't take four candles and tell you what to do.
right. It needs data. It
And
needs
even then, Albert, me and you can't look at it and be like, yo, to the moon.
what's going to happen too, right? Exactly. We don't have enough structure to work with.
Yeah, exactly. The only reason you're buying it is because Twitter told you to. So you probably should put your money back in your wallet.
The perfect plug and play.
Yeah.
I
Oh yeah.
love it.
Yeah. So yeah, it does work for stocks too. Forgot to mention that.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited for you all to experience the advantage, really. I know I've been saying a lot of slogans, but it genuinely are the catchphrases that you see on the site, and more importantly, how we speak, because it gives you precisely what, is trying to be provided. And so, yeah, legends. Go to town. Get signed up. If you ever have any issues pertaining to the sign up process, definitely reach out to support. We have an incredible support team. They're on the clock all the time, and they're here to take care of you. Before we run off, does anybody have any other questions that maybe came to the top of your head for you, or I mean, for or for Dylan? Dylan has just as much as experience with this now, and so yeah. If you want any final last minute questions, without a doubt, fire away. If not, like I said, we're going to be doing a lot of these moving forward, and more so, we're going to be having specific community oriented lives as well, specifically for discussions like this. And so, yeah, definitely as we continue to develop and brainstorm, yeah, we'll continue to see some incredible action. But nonetheless, legends, overall, we're getting near the end of today's webinar. Nearly 3 hours in here today, and I can't tell you, I haven't had this much fun in years. In years. I genuinely started just getting so quiet towards the end just because I can't express in words, what it means to hear just that type of response immediately. And as Dylan said, I mean, how many, 30 hours, how much can you genuinely put in that, regard, so he just skimmed the surface, and to just see that type of reaction straight off the bat,
Well,
amazing.
Albert, back testing's a lot quicker when you don't got to chart it all up.
Facts. Facts.
Every, like Theo, you said something about the guys who are here first. They understand how many hours did you waste on a Sunday just for you to go too small of a time frame and it's all gone.
Straight facts. Theo, go ahead,
Thanks,
ask your question,
thanks,
champ.
thanks, Trading View.
Yeah, my last question was for the I think what it was the percentage gain was like one of the settings. Was that what it was?
This here, the TP percentage?
Yeah, is that like as you adjust it, does the how does it like the TP get bigger? Like does the TP get bigger or like does the
Yeah, so
stops
like
get
take a look
tighter?
at like so basically no, the stops are always based on the direction of the market, so it's not like the direction is going to start changing based on your take profits, but this ultimately just dictates in context to suggest the TPs of when that most recent buy signal was printed. So from where this buy signal was printed to where the TP is, I'm sure that I'm off, so I'm gonna be like here, whatever. But basically, that comes into the 10% line, right, of what the TP is. Now, when you interchange the TPs, right, ultimately that will dictate how many signals are sent, right? So the lower TP, the more signals that will be sent, the higher the TP. Sometimes the less signals will be sent, but that's not also true because if you do maneuver through the time frames, that also dictates as well how many trades may be firing away in addition. So the take profit percentage, you can adjust it in that context, but be mindful once again, you want to be using that in addition to also all the other tools that you have around you because they will give you a way better, when used combined, they give you a way better sense of just overall market environment. You think you're getting a higher high, it's It's not necessarily indicative that this should just push through. Be mindful of what is telling you. But with the take profit percentage, yeah, that dictates where the take profit's going to be put, and then more importantly, when these are going to be fired away at.
All right, and like just to clarify, and like this is like assuming that 1R would be 1%. Is that like how it goes? I'm assuming.
Where, champ?
Like is like 1R like the stop loss with that? Like is that assuming like the stop loss is like 1% of the trading account?
Where do you see 1R?
Like because the take profit is like five. Is it 5% of the like the entire trading account? Is that what the?
No, 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 no. It's just it's a
Oh,
percentage of the market in and of itself. So like 5% of Apple of where that was spent, or like for example, you look at currently these percentages. It's not of your account as much as of the market in itself.
oh,
When
okay,
it comes to
okay,
risk, you dictate risk in the end of the day in context to that. This is talking
okay.
about when the signal was printed to, for example, expectancy. And when you change it, ultimately it will dictate, of course, how many are sent, frequency,
Mm-hmm.
where they go, things like that.
All right, okay, that makes sense.
That makes sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Beautiful. You ready, champ?
Man, I'm ready. I'm excited. Like I'm
Let's
fully
go.
funded. I'm ready to hook this up.
Let's go. Let's go. I'm glad that I was able to, because I know a lot of you, I know you, Marvin, Artie, you guys were asking a lot of questions with regards to, just there's a lot of questions, and I want to make sure that, we can get those answered as quickly as possible. We're here. Excelsius is out. There's no reason to delay in context to getting set up. And so there's also going to be coming out with some a video tomorrow with regards to also game plans and tactics that I want to release for everybody. But yeah, legend. For the members, there was new videos released just a couple hours ago that really goes into the whole best practice sides of it when it comes down to Excelsius. And so yeah, it's time to get you hooked up and start competing. Let's go. Um, any other questions, champ?
I'm good. I'm straight.
Beautiful. Um, rock and roll. With that, legends, this is going to conclude the live. The live is recorded, so I'll upload the recording when I get it. And then aside from that, I can't thank you all enough for coming today. Dylan, thank you so much for your input and just more importantly, your feedback. I can't tell you just how massive it is, and it will continue to just be even more massive as the feedback and just overall experience will help mold and shape the future of Excelsius. And so, legends, we are here. We are about to genuinely take off to a whole nother world, and it's so exciting. Go to town on it, have fun with it, reach out to the community. If you need any help, reach out to me. Dylan said you could reach out to him. He's a busy legend, but still loves to help out. And yeah, legends, we got an amazing community. We're all here for the same reasons, to make each other better. And so yeah, enjoy Excelsius, have fun with it, and like we were talking about this entire time, let it open up what is already inside of you. As you saw with Dylan, and I very much know, as I know who Dylan is as a trader, those talents have been within him since the day I've known him. Confidence is a scary thing. Confidence is a very scary thing when obtained. And sometimes you just need that push to start creating that confidence. And once that confidence starts being created, it's very scary what can be done with it. Legends, go experience the advantages, go kick some ass. Thank you all for being the best.